Hello everyone, welcome to next section of our video. So in this section we will be seeing about the Android Marshmallow permissions. So the new permission model which has been provided in Android Marshmallow phones. So Android Marshmallow introduces a redesigned application permission model, and as you can see there are now only 8 permission categories, and applications are no longer automatically granted all of their specified permission at installation time. So if you are aware or using the previous versions of Android, like Android Lollipop versions, and prior to that, you would see whenever you install any app, it doesn't ask for any kind of permission to allow you, and it automatically grants those permissions for your app installation. But from Android Marshmallow phones, it will specifically ask you for some permissions, and these permissions are basically categorized into 8 permissions model, or 8 permission groups you can say, which I have listed over here, and this has been already mentioned in Google's official site as well. So as you can see, the different permission groups which are there and how you can use, and most importantly, all these permissions you have to define in your Android manifest.xml file in Android Studio. So when we will be doing the Android app development, I'll show you where exactly you have to mention this permission. So it's mentioned in Android manifest.xml file. So it's basically an opt-in system is now used, in which users are prompted to grant or deny an individual permission which has the ability to access the camera or microphone to an application when they are needed for the first time. So if you are using any of the Android M phones, you will be noticing, suppose you want to use the camera app, or there is a camera already inbuilt. So when you start taking pictures from the camera, it will not automatically allow you to take the picture. It will first give a pop-up kind of thing, and it will ask for your permissions. Do you want the camera to access your access your phones, and this kind of permissions are there already. And suppose you are using any app like a Google Map or anything which shows a location, so it will ask for a location permission, that do you want your app to take the required permission or allow it. Once you do allow at the time of installation or at the time of using the app, then only it will go to the next window. So this is an opt-in system which is now being used, and it will ask for a individual permission. So once you deny those permissions, you will not be able to use that app in that way. So this is something very important as an Android app developer. So you have to take care of the permission once you're developing this app. So these are the, and one most important thing is that this feature was already present in iOS phones for years, but Android is only now catching up with this permission. So some basic permission, if I talk about, like the internet access, for example, are still granted by default. So whenever you have, because for accessing any of the app, you by default you need an internet access. So now we don't need to grant any individual permission for internet access. This is granted by default, but generally speaking, you will be asked to grant individual permission for the first time an app attempts to access them. So as I have mentioned, well, like calendar, so you have some app which is using a calendar functionality. So there are 2 permissions for those. Calendar is read calendar and write calendar. So you have to mention these permissions in your Android manifest XML file. Same for the camera, you have a camera permission. For contacts, so contacts is very commonly used, because whenever you are developing any app like a SMS app or a group app, a chat app, anything, so you need some contacts information, or a social platform app, so you need some permissions for accessing the contacts in the phones. So read contacts, write contacts, and get contacts, these are the different permissions which are available under this permission group. Then you have the location. So location is also very common. So whenever you're developing any app which uses the location of your phone, so you have to grant this 2 permission: access find location or access course location. Then the microphone or some audio permissions are there. Then you have record audio, so you have to include this permissions. Then the phone, for phone permissions, like the read phone state. So read phone state means something like you have a social app and you want to use the mail ID which is configured, the Gmail ID which is configured in your phone, and so for that you have to use a read phone state permission. Then you have a call phone, like some app like a Truecaller which uses a call phone option, where they show the name and number of the person who is calling. So for that you have to use a call phone option. Then read call log, write call log. So these are the different permissions which are available under this phone permission group. Then sensors, and then SMS. So any SMS app, so you have to include this send SMS permissions in your Android manifest.xml file. So these are some of the new permission model which has been implemented in Android M phones, and we will be definitely doing when we are developing our app, we'll definitely using the permissions, and I'll show you how it pops up the permission and how it's being used in your app. So thank you, and let's see some more features of Android M in the next section of videos.